Hey guys, it's me Harshan. Welcome back to my channel Baking Vibes. Today I am sharing with you a recipe of bread. It is not just any bread, it is a crusty artisan loaf of bread. It may sound fancy, but it is making very easy because it is a no knead recipe. That's right, you don't have to knead the dough at all. All you need to do is give it some time to rest and you will get a beautiful loaf of bread. Without any further ado, let's get started. The ingredients that you will require for the bread are 3 cups of all-purpose flour, 1 cup plus additional warm water, 3/4 tablespoon of instant or active dry yeast, half tablespoon of sugar and half tablespoon of salt. Our first step is to activate our yeast. So into a warm water we will first add in our sugar and then using a spoon we will just give it a stir. Once our sugar is mixed in, now we will sprinkle the yeast on top and then mix it as well. Now we will cover this with a plate and set this aside until it activates. No matter which yeast you are using, my suggestion will always be to make sure that you activate your yeast beforehand, because sometimes the yeast is expired or sometimes some of the yeast does not work. So the best thing to do is activate it first and see if it is working, and if it is not, then you can throw it away and start away with fresh yeast. Let us check on our yeast mixture. It is foamy on top and there are a few bubbles, which means our yeast has activated and it is ready to use. Now that our yeast is ready to use, we will just mix our dry ingredients once. So we will add the salt into our flour and give it a mix. At this point you can also add any flavorings if you want, like garlic powder, any herbs, onion powder, all up to you. And now we will just prepare a well in the center. And into that we will pour in our yeast. And then using a spatula we will just mix it together. Once you can see that almost all of the water is been mixed but still the dough hasn't formed, now you can start adding your additional water. I will start by adding 1/4 cup at a time. You can require from 1/4 cup to half a cup. Okay, so now I have added only 1/4 cup of water and the dough is ready. If you live in places where the humidity is low, you may require to add more water. So this is how your dough should look like, and this is the perfect consistency because we are not going to knead the dough, and since we are not going to knead it, so the gluten needs to be formed. For that we will need to require to rest the dough for a long time. So now we will just cover it with the cling film and let it rest in a warm and dry place for about 3 hours. After 3 hours of proving, as you can see, a lot of bubbles have arisen and the dough has almost tripled in size. And all these strands that you can see are the gluten strands which have finally developed. So now we are ready to shape our bread. So first we will take a plain surface. I am using a chopping board, and we will heavily flour it. And now we will tip out the dough onto our surface. Now we will apply some flour on the top. And then using our hands, we will just fold it once in half like this, and then in half like this. Keep the seam side down, tuck it all under into a ball. Once you have done that, keep this aside and take a baking tray which has been already lined with a parchment paper, and then sprinkle the parchment paper with some flour. You can also use cornmeal, semolina at this point. And now take your dough ball and just place it in the center, and just sprinkle it on top also with some flour. And now cover the dough with a bowl, and now keep this in a warm dry place for about 40 to 45 minutes. You can also keep this in a turned off oven. After 45 to 40 minutes, gently lift your bowl now. With well floured hands, just get the dough back in shape, just a little bit. Once you have done that, sprinkle some more flour on top. And now use a serrated knife or a very sharp knife and just score the bread with 3 lines or however you like it. And once you have scored your bread, it is now ready to go into the oven. But before that, we have to make a few arrangements. After you have done this, make sure that you heat 1 cup of water and then just pour it in any baking dish or oven proof container. I am using a large cake pan. This will act as a steamer for our oven. And now this both will go into an preheated oven which is at 230 degrees Celsius to bake. On your bottom rack, keep the cake pan with hot water, and in the center rack, keep your baking tray. And now we will bake this for about 40 minutes with the steamer, 35 to 40 minutes. Now we will remove our water and now bake this for about 5 minutes or 10 minutes or as long as you want to make your bread. Our beautiful crusty loaf of artisan bread has been baked. Now only thing that you need to do is let it rest for some time on a wire rack so that the steam lets out and your bread does not become soggy at all. And now I would just like to show you how crusty it is. Listen to this. How perfect it sounds like. It is just like the restaurant or bakery style artisan bread, that too without kneading. So did you see how easy it was to make this loaf of bread? Only thing you need is time, because all the ingredients are readily available, I guess. And making this will give you satisfaction because you will get to make your own homemade bread, and that too so easily. I hope you do try this recipe at home and let me know how did it turn out by sending the pictures to me on my social media, for which all the links are in the description box below. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and I will see you guys soon. Until then, keep baking and stay happy.